Hi people and hello my Chili Con Carnage crew, it's Chili here for another episode of Live Listen Erased, and we're going to be bringing aboard, this is another panel again, the same panel as well from the last episode. If you haven't checked it out, make sure to go forth and do so. Link will be below or up on the corner screen, somewhere around about here. If you have made sure to also check it out, the previous episodes that were done. But we have on this panel, we have Hector from the Chill Dude on the Couch. Hector, good to see you back here for this one. Hey.
It's been a long time.
It's been a long time, hasn't it? Winky face. It's been so long since we kept the same wardrobe, which is always a good sign of things. Like, you know, I haven't washed in 3 weeks. We've got JC from JC Rock and Metal Reviews. How you doing, JC?
I'm doing good. Thanks.
That's the way. And Nick over there from Nick Sino Music. Good to see you over in the corner. How are you going for today?
Good, man. Thanks for having me on.
Thank you for being part of it. Now, for those who haven't been part of it and are unaware of the way the series works, it's basically like Marry, F, and Kill in regards to the music world. So we're talking about Live, Listen, Erase. We have 3 records from our Wheel of Pain that the panel has selected. These 3 records will be picked at a whim, and then we have to discuss the music. Which ones we would listen to forever, which ones we would see live, performed once only, and which one we would erase. So without further ado, let's go visit the Wheel of Pain.
Wheel of Pain.
Isn't that just tempting, like, for a video game? Like, hey, yeah, Wheel of Pain, everyone. All right, as we can see here from what is left over from the selection of records, and damn, we got some interesting ones here. Actually, let's take a bet. Let's take a bet. Pick one record each. Which one do you think is going to be picked? JC, which one do you think you'll be seeing?
Probably Omnium Gatherer.
Ooh, good one. Good
That
one.
would be a good one.
Oh yeah, Nick. Which one do you think you'll see come up?
I don't know. I'm kind of hoping for Periphery.
Periphery.
Yeah,
Yeah, I'd like to see Periphery. That'd be good.
Get a
Chill
Hector
dude?
choice in there.
Hector, what are you thinking?
I would like to see Mammal.
Oh, I know someone who'll be very happy watching this episode. I hope to see Mammal on this one too, actually. All right, let's see. Here we go. Drum beat, drum roll. Yes! 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 Oh, yeah! I hope to play just like a little section. Slings and arrows. Slings and arrows! Oh, man, I'm so happy. I'll be very happy about this episode. Let's see the next one here. Sorry, got carried away. Lit a Place in the Sun. That's from JC's selection over there. Ah, man. And the last one for the selection.
Spirit.
Oh, damn. Two of my choices got picked up there. Sunk Loto between life and death.
All my choices snubbed by the wheel.
Yeah. That's it, man. All the choices there just got snubbed. Didn't write that one down in time. I got ahead of myself when I saw Mammal. I'm like, oh, God. I can only be so excited. I'm just so glad the camera's from, this part down. That means I'm going to have to talk a lot for this episode too. So yeah, look, as we have discussed, obviously we're going to be talking about these bands. We're going to go through one by one, discussing the records and people's thoughts in regards to this one. And at the very end, we're going to talk about which ones we would see live, which ones we would see performed once, and which one we would have erased. And we're going to kick things off here with Mammal. Oh my God, am I so happy just talking about Mammal. Just a quick one as well. I want to give a shout out to Zeke. He is the lead singer of Mammal and has actually been a part of this panel in a previous episode. So he would probably be interested and watching this episode right now if it's premiering. So Zeke, thank you very much. And I also did see Mammal perform live only about a week ago. And oh my God, were they amazing. So Mammal is this very interesting band from Australia. They're kind of like this. I don't know how to describe them. Australia's version of Rage Against the Machine, I guess, might be one way. Very politically motivated with their music. It's alt metal kind of stuff. And they're very, very passionate when they're performing live. In fact, the reason that I know of Mammal was back years ago, I went to see a concert from another Australian metal act called The Butterfly Effect. And Mammal were the openers for this band, and actually blew me away when I was watching them perform live. You know, here is this performer coming up on stage, just no shirt, he's got a tie on for a belt, and he's not just on the stage, he's in the crowd, he's getting lifted up by the crowd, and it was one of these performances that just stays with you forever. I bought the record afterwards, actually, I've still got it sitting here. This is the record that I bought off him after the show. It's called Volume 1 Underground. The Volume 1, the Oral Underground there. And it is a live performance from the band. That last track, Hell Yeah, is one of their most iconic songs that they have out there. And is a crowd pleaser, that's for sure. Now, this recent album is The Penny Drops, which was released only this year. And for many, many reasons, it was a big selection. First of all, I wanted to show you guys the band Mammal and, you know, hopefully bring you to the music. But it was also one of those records that we thought was never going to happen because Mammal, after, you know, their live performances, they did record a studio record back in the day because I think they had 2 studio live albums. Think of the MC5 situation with their debut album. They also had a studio record after these 2 records. But then they kind of called it quits, and it was the case for something like 10 years. They just did nothing after that. Well, I take that back, sorry. Zeke went on to be in another Australian metal band called Super Heist, if anyone's ever heard of those guys. But they're also another pretty big influence in Australia. Actually, if you listen to the early Super Heist music from 1994, it sounds like Slipknot's debut record. So that's an interesting one to, you know, hit up if you want to be curious on that one. So yeah, he joined up with with Super Heist a few years afterwards. But then, out of the blue, there was this post made on Mammal's Facebook page that the group were gathering back together, had a few beers, were talking about coming back together as a band. And there was a lot of, you know, discussions for a long time. They released a couple of singles here and there. Then there was an EP, and then we're kind of questioning it, what's going on, because I think the bass player left, and they brought in a new bass player, Cade. And finally, we got the penny drop. They released a single, Keanu Reeves, and that was like this really
That's
weird
a great
song.
single, man.
It's a great single.
He's a very good actor.
he's in all my favorite movies, you know, and like, so
Quick
you know,
break, man.
and yeah, I mean, damn, and like there was this. It was my favorite song from back in 2023 because the single was released all the way back then, and then when this album came out, it is one of my favorite albums, I've got to say, of the year, and will possibly make it into the top 10 albums of the year for me. So I am extremely curious to hear everyone's thoughts on this one. Let's bump it over to JC. What are your thoughts in regards to Mammal and the penny drops? Penny drop.
Yeah, I like it a lot. It reminded me a lot of like very 2000s, very like new metal. But like you said, Rage Against the Machine. That's a good comparison. It's kind of like that type of thing, like Limp Bizkit, very energetic. Just lots of like great riffs, but it has like that like funk aspect of it, and there's also like the rapping with like the heavy vocals, and some of it's like funk as well. So yeah, I like it a lot. I'm surprised that I never listened to this. I guess 'cause I usually try to listen to everything that comes out new, but I guess I missed this one when it came out. But it's pretty good because I like these types of bands. There's not a lot of bands like doing this type of music like these days. A lot of the metal music that comes out, it sounds a lot of it sounds the same. It's either like the same type of death metal or like the same type of black metal or like the thrash. And I like that stuff, but I think this band is bringing back something that we don't hear like from other bands that much. So yeah, I liked it. I liked it a lot.
It's probably like the previous episode when we were talking about it with Dandelion. Like it's a sound that was almost forgotten.
Yeah.
So, yeah,
Yeah, like that. Yeah.
yeah, definitely got that pick to it, man. It's good to hear that you enjoyed it as well. What were your favorite tracks off the record if you had to pick a couple?
Definitely like Keanu Reeves. Yeah, it's a great one, and the other one hit me. Like yeah.
Yeah, very good song with that one. Let's jump it over to Nick. What is your thoughts in regards to Mammal and the Penny Drop?
I really like this album. Yeah, I'd never heard of Mammal before, but immediately right from the get go, I got some Papa Roach vibes, a little bit of POD in there as well. Definitely some new metal. Is like I think the funny thing is that new metal was very much an early 2000s kind of thing, but it's very much alive and well in 2023. There are so many bands now, new bands, old bands that do the new metal sound, and I think it's still a really cool and like vibrant modern genre. And I think Mammal is a band that proves that this genre is alive and well. This it's an old school genre, but it's very modern as well. And I like the line. I think it was in the song Moscow where they say they don't play this shit in Canada yet. Right.
Yeah.
And I think we would love this in Canada. I think you bring this stuff over Canada, we would dig this stuff for sure. And I liked the title track. I thought that was really funky. Penny Drop was really good. Keanu Reeves was another one that I really liked too. He's one of my favorite actors. So if Mammal likes it, then we can get along. And there's a little bit of a Bill and Ted shout out in there as well, which is one of my favorite movies of all time.
Excellent.
Doubt was really good. Excellent. Be excellent to each other. Doubt, I thought was a really great song. I thought that was a strong radio ready single. I don't know if it's gotten any love on the radio over in Australia, but I felt like that was a really great hit song and had that kind of thing in the making. And then also reminded me a little bit, I don't know if you guys are familiar, there's a band from Canada called Danko Jones. Not quite as heavy as this. They're not really new metal, it's more rock and roll, but just the attitude in the vocals, the political leaning things that they're talking about on the record as well. I thought this was really cool. I'd never heard of them before, but it's definitely an album that I want to listen to again.
Nice. Okay, that's good to hear as well, man. Hector, what are your thoughts in regards to Mammal, the Penny Drop?
So I did watch the episode where he was when the singer was on the episode, and he's a lawyer.
Yes, he is. He's a lawyer
I
as
was
well.
like, wow, like he's the coolest lawyer ever. And
I want him representing me if I'm ever in shit. Like,
yeah, yeah, yeah. You imagine he's representing you, and then he starts quoting like stuff from the Devil's Advocate because of Keanu Reeves.
Classic.
But
Oh, man.
yeah, I had only listened to Keanu Reeves because you told me, but I'm like, oh, I still hadn't gone around to listen to him. I'm like, yeah, finally, let me listen to Mammal. And this album kicks ass, Like I thought at first when I saw Moscow, maybe it's a Rammstein cover. Remember Rammstein had that? No,
Yeah.
grass. But hey, there's no love for Puerto Rico. He didn't mention Puerto Rico in the track. Come on. But yeah, it's a cool track. And I think there's a track that I remember I sent you a message. Slings and Arrows kind of reminded me of an On Point song.
yeah, that's
They
what
have
you
a
told me.
yeah, like they have a song like called Chaos and Earthquakes, and it has like something similar. And On Point, actually, the singer and the drummer are from Puerto Rico, so it's
Yeah.
a cool thing. But yeah, Mammal, yeah, it's a cool. The album's cool. I think they have like some humor mixed with serious stuff in them. So I don't know, they reminded me of like a mixture of Rage Against the Machine mixed with Limp Bizkit, and that's what I heard on this. Because even though they can be serious, I think there's some like fun to them as well. Because come on, that Keanu Reeves song, and I like it that they're talking about Point Break. I'm like, no, they could be doing John Wick, but no, they went old school.
Oh,
Because
yeah.
some people was like, hell is Point Break. I'm like, one of the best action movies of the 90s ever. And then if people say like, but they did a remake. No, screw that shit. like watch the original, Vaya con Dios, watch the first one. Like that's an awesome movie, and I even think that Keanu Reeves would dig this track.
I think he
because
would,
he seems
yeah.
like a cool guy. Yeah.
Don't hate me.
It's
I
funny
haven't
because
seen Point Break yet either, by the way.
Classic.
Dude, come on. You need to see Point Break.
I
It's a great
know.
movie.
People have said this
It-
to me a few times.
It's about surfers that rob banks, okay?
Exactly right, man.
How much cooler can you get? So yeah, I really enjoyed this album, and it's a fun record, and I want to listen to this record more this year because it was going to be like going under the rock, and I was gonna miss it. So I'm glad that I didn't miss it.
I'm so glad I twisted everyone's nipples and forced them to listen to this record at the end of the day. So, it pays off sometimes to push your views. No, I'm so glad that everyone listened to this album and then they've got so much positivity to say about this record, because I remember reading about when after I saw Mammal, there was a couple of articles I was reading about with their performance. Sorry, by the way, when I saw him live, he was like walking into the mosh pit and crawling upstairs, and he was halfway across the crowd. Like, he is the guy who gets into the crowd. Then he's just singing from the top of that section over there, and you're kind of like, the band's here, but why is he over? What's going on there? Anyway, absolutely fantastic band to see live. Hopefully, if Zeke's watching this, hey, go check out Nick and go to Canada. It sounds like they are going to start playing Mammal very shortly. You know what I mean? But yeah, like I saw this article describing Mammal as like Australia's hidden live gem, I should say. And it just feels like something that we as Australians have been witnessed, who have witnessed, Mammal, can attest to. And a lot of people, everyone says the same thing. Yep, they're fantastic to see live. But because they're like this underground almost group still, it's just a bit unfortunate that they probably haven't had a hit on the world stage, I guess, and made it big. But yeah, this record certainly is that impactful one, and I love it to death, and I'm so happy to hear that everyone else is in the same boat as well. So damn, absolutely love it. And I want to give a shout out, of course, Keanu Reeves is a mad track to listen to, the Penny Drop, Moscow, as well as Doubt and Slings and Arrows. And also make sure to spray some Glen 20 for the band. That's a bit of an inside joke to them. If you know, you know. So yeah, spray some Glen 20 for Mammal in regards to this one. So we're going to go on to the next one here, which is JC's pick, Lit. Tell us a little bit about Lit, will you? Because this was a band I just wasn't familiar with, and then I listened to it and I went, oh, this band?
Yeah, it's a band that, like, when I was picking my albums, I'm kind of like, let me just stay in the 90s. So I picked the Dandelion one and then Sponge. I'm thinking of like these 90s bands that I used to listen to, but I haven't like heard in a while. And I'm like looking at just all these different names, and I come across Lit. And I'm like, yeah, I kind of remember this one. So let me pick this one. I thought it was interesting because I listened to it again for like the first time. And when sometimes you listen to like an old album and then you're like, oh yeah, I remember that song. I like haven't heard it in like years. And then like it just like comes back to you. Like there were a couple singles. The big one, My Own Worst Enemy.
Yeah.
That was a big single. That's like a pop punk. But this
Oh,
band
yeah.
is kind of that they mix. They're like a little bit of like punk, the pop punk, but also a little bit of grunge, and maybe like they can get like a little metal at times. So they're kind of like a little bit of a mix. I kind of like that aspect of it. They had another single called "Miserable," and like if you listen to like the first line, like I'm not gonna say it, but like
You make
you make me completely miserable. But the way he says it, it sounds like he's saying something different because he kind of like says it slow. But there were a lot of those like pop punk bands that like.
I just had to reread the lyrics,
But-
sorry, and I just read it, and I'm like, oh my god, no wonder.
Do you remember the music video for that song, JC?
No, I probably watched that. I didn't get a chance to watch it again, but I'll have to like check it out
It
again.
had Pamela Anderson.
Yeah,
They were
classic
walking
video.
all over Pamela Anderson.
They're all like,
Oh, yeah.
Did they
She was in
reenact
a-
the first line from the song then? Like if Pamela Anderson's in it, I don't know. Maybe
But,
they did.
yeah, so it's like there's so many, a lot of these like 90s like bands that were like that combination of like alternative and like punk. There were a lot of these bands that like I used to listen to, but I kind of forgot about. So I thought it would be a good idea to revisit this one, and that's why I picked it. I thought it was fun. It was fun to listen to again. Yeah.
Yeah, I did. Oh man, hard agree with that one. My own worst enemy, was that used in like American Pie or something? I feel like it was in a movie soundtrack.
So probably.
Might have
Yeah,
been.
you
Let me look it up.
Yeah, it was like
One of those
I was
90s
listening to it
movies.
going, oh god, like I remember this song. Like all of a sudden, completely forgot the artist. Obviously, they're described as one-hit wonders for this own song, but this weird pop punk thing, Tony Hawk's Pro Skater or some shit. I don't know. One of these things. It's in a soundtrack of some kind. 100%. It had to be. It was that. It gives off those vibes. My own worst enemy. You know, like it. It's a really cool.
Oh, it was in the American Reunion,
Ah,
one of the
yeah,
sequels. I'm
yeah,
looking it up
yeah,
right now. Yeah,
yeah. I thought it was. Yeah. God, I haven't watched the.
but it's been in like a bunch of TV shows and stuff. So yeah,
Yeah, it's one of those things that
so
does the
I'm sure you've
rounds.
heard
You
it.
know.
Yeah.
Probably gets played now in. It probably gets played now in like your shopping centers. Like we're starting to hit the contemporary age, people. Like
I,
oh.
I used to go to a gym where the instructor played that song all the time.
I don't know if
For
that's
doing hip
motivation or
like,
not. Like you are.
"Love me."
It's about being drunk and waking up and not knowing what's
Yeah,
going on. I
yeah.
don't know. That's great. Like
I
workout.
need to call you that.
Yeah.
You're like,
Stop
"Dude,
being
come
a
on, let's
fat
fix
bastard and give me another push up. You are your own worst enemy. Yeah.
Yeah.
it." Yeah, and he used to end the set with "Every rose has its thorn."
Oh
I'm like,
god,
come on,
what? No, no,
you
no,
date
no,
us.
no. You
Like,
need
did
to.
you date a stripper, man?
He clearly did. If that was his choice of music, oh, every rose has its thorn as a closer for an. Too many questions. Too many
That's the
questions.
cool down song, man.
Is that the
You
one?
need to cool down.
What? Yeah, yeah. Because he's got sweat and glitter all over him from the strip clubs. I don't know what's going on. That's a bit of a. There's some question marks I've got to raise there. He probably was a male gigolo on the side. Like he's getting his He has a tape side A's for bodybuilding, side B is for stripping. I don't know. Nick, Nick, run us through Lit and what your thoughts were in regards to this album.
Well, I was really excited when JC picked this one because this is like one of my favorite albums of all time. I grew up with this record. It came out when I was in high school. I remember when My Own Worst Enemy came out, and that was such a huge hit. But Lit is like, for me, they're way more than just a one-hit wonder. Every song on this album is awesome. It's a no skip album for me.
Yes.
And it's still an album that I listen to all the time. I have like my iPod that I listen to in my car, and I have a bunch of different playlists. And I have these songs in pretty much constant rotation when they pop up in my shuffle list. It's a great summer album. I remember it came out in the summer of 1999, or maybe actually probably like maybe a little bit earlier that year, but I remember listening to it with my friends. Yeah, so in 99, summer 99, it was huge when that came out. Quicksand, Ziploc, Four, Best Is Yet to Come Undone. Like every song on this album is just amazing, and I still love a lot of their new stuff. I follow a lot of their new music. They actually released a song a couple of years ago that
They
felt
have
like a
new
little
album
bit.
this year.
Yeah, so they had a song called "Kicked Off the Plane," which was a little bit like a sequel to "My Own Worst Enemy." It's very much the same kind of theme going on
Still
there.
going
so,
on and getting drunk.
So you
It's
never
like
have
it's
to
like
give
the
me
lead
enough-
singer for Five Finger Death Punch, isn't it? Ivan Moody. Didn't
Yeah.
he get kicked off off Qantas
Yeah,
flights
right.
for being drunk?
Exactly. So yeah, you never have to really give me an excuse to listen to this album again. So yeah, always a thumbs up listening to this record.
Nice. Hector, what are your thoughts in regards to Lit? We getting lit?
I actually bought this album when it came out too.
Oh wow.
But I did after that I stopped listening to them. So I was surprised, like they had an album in 2022. They're gonna have an album now. I'm like, they're still a band. But yeah, I have to say, listening to this, it brought back a lot of like fun memories from 1999. A lot of like drunken party nights and stuff. So it took me back to that time. Like it takes me back to fun times. So it's like a nostalgic record, if you will. And I remember when there were songs I haven't listened to this in a long time. I remember My Own Worst Enemy and Miserable because of the music video with Pamela Anderson, like in a bikini, and the guy's like walking all over her. and of course the line. But my own worst enemy, I listen. I already said I had that. I took a heat class, and he used to put that song all the time. Like I'm like, dude, do you know any other songs? So he put that song all the time. But then you have songs here like Perfect One, Quicksand, that they have like more depth into them. And when I was listening to Seed Block, I'm like, oh, I remember that song, like tell me, put it in a Seed Block. And I'm like, oh yeah, I did remember that song. It's very catchy. And I think it's catchy, but it's like it's a catchy in a way that it's not like crude, like they didn't rely on crude humor like a Blink 182. So
Yeah.
they were a hard band to place because they had like some pop punk to them, but they also had like some pop rock, like let's say like a Smash Mouth or so it was hard to put
Yeah.
them, categorize them. But I didn't know that after this album, I gotta be honest, I didn't ever listen to any of their albums ever again. I don't know
The one
why.
after this, Atomic, the second one, is really
Mhm.
great too, just like the first one,
Uh,
for sure.
yeah, so it's a band that I don't know why I stopped listening to, but yeah, A Place in the Sun, I really remember it, and they're gonna have an album this year, and they have one in 2022. So I'm like, wow, I didn't realize that this band was still around. I know they're not from Canada. I think they're from the States, right?
I
Yeah,
think so.
California.
Or are they
Yeah,
from
California.
California?
Yeah.
Yeah, they're from California. Yeah, they look California. But yeah, this took me back to 1999, and yeah, they were a lot of fun. It was almost like also they had like like even like a Sugar Ray element to them. So they were like a lot of
Yeah.
bands mixed into one. And I'm surprised that they're still around. And actually, they have almost 5 million followers in
Wow.
Spotify. That's a lot of
That's a lot
followers for
for
a
a
band.
one-hit wonder band, so.
Yeah. No, I don't think Miserable was a hit. So
Yeah.
yeah, it wasn't as big as My Own Worst Enemy,
Oh, yeah.
but it
My
was a
Own
hit.
Worst Enemy was massive. Yeah, that was a
Massive,
big song.
massive. So yeah, I think it's maybe out of all the albums that we have on this list, this one was the most nostalgic for me.
Yep, I think I'd agree with you there. Like, wasn't aware of Lit. I was aware of the song My Own Worst Enemy, and it always stood as this track that was done by an artist that was, so in my mind, it was this one-hit wonder kind of band. Nick has mentioned that they've had several hits afterwards, and obviously Hector has said that they have 5 million followers. So clearly they have a good following. Clearly they have more going to them than My Own Worst Enemy, which most people will, like myself included, remember them for. But when when JC picked this one, I'm like, who the hell is Lit? I just had this moment like, okay, so I'm googling it, and then I look at this pin-up artwork from like the 50s or something there, that artwork there with the lady just kind of lounging, and it certainly struck me as one of those 90s kind of punk bands, especially Real Big Fish, or they might be Giants, or one of those groups. They always have these kind of artworks that just kind of go with this type of thing.
That's more ska.
Yeah, well, yeah, you blur the line, ska, punk. Anyway, there was it kind of followed that kind of artwork, I guess, in some of their earlier records as well around that time. So I remember looking at it going, okay, this is definitely going to be a 90s album. And I'm listening to it, and as soon as, My Worst Enemy, I'm like, whatever I was doing, I remember just like listening to, this track, I mean, 4 begins off, it's a good track. But then as soon as I was like, oh, okay, so this is who I'm listening to. Now I'm in the right frame of mind. And it is a really good album. It's a really sick, every single track, I'm like, damn, this is good. This is hella good. Down, Miserable, Ziploc, I think was another track I thought was pretty good. And all these songs I'm just listening to, going, damn, yeah, solid tracks. And I absolutely did love this record. So, yes, I'm absolutely thankful for the suggestion there, JC, for bringing it back onto my radar, I guess you could say. And maybe many people out there who are familiar with Lit can go check out some of their more newer material as well with their 2022 and the release that will be coming out this year. I mean, hell, I'm going to have to check it out now and part of my reviews. So, yeah, I probably would have missed it otherwise. Yeah, so it's certainly an interesting record. I really loved it. JC, was there any final send-off notes for this one you wanted to say?
No, I'm glad I picked it. It was kind of like one of these like random picks, but it's just, like all the things I picked, they're like these albums that like I haven't heard in a long time, and I'm like, yeah, I think I'm definitely gonna be like listening to this like a lot more, and probably that there are other stuff too. So it's kind of like I'm like rediscovering this new band,
No, fair enough there.
that I've like heard before. Yeah,
All right. Well, that brings us on to the last
Yeah.
one here, and Sunk Loto, another one of my selections. Damn, I've had two on this list. That's surprising. And Sunk Loto, let's see, they're an Australian metal band from the early 2000s, and they didn't have much going for them. I think we lost Hector there, did we? He's just disappeared.
yeah, maybe he lost the
he's,
signal.
he's coming back. Did the hurricane hit you, Hector? We lost you
No,
for
I
a
don't know
second.
what happened.
He's like, Sunk Loto, I'm going to sink out of here. Bye. So, yeah, Sunk Loto is this Australian band, and they're from like the early 2000s. I think they only had two records, and this one, Between Birth and Death, is the second record. Pretty sure it's 2005 release from memory. It was the album that I bought, and I don't remember why. I think it was just sitting there in, one of those collection bins, buy this record's $5, buy it. And I just remember looking at it going, this is definitely some metal band, look at the album cover work. It's definitely metal, so I'm going to go out and buy it. And I'm so glad I did. Sunk Loto has this extreme cult following, but after this record, they split up shortly afterwards, which was very unfortunate. And the band would go on to perform like a few little side projects. They had, I think it was The Flood, which is another band. And the other one I have to mention was Electric Horse. And if I don't mention that one, because there is a fan, an old school fan from the channel, and me and him were talking about Sunk Loto in particular. And he mentioned Electric Horse to me, which brought to my attention. Electric Horse, interestingly enough, is also the name of a hidden track from Powderfinger's record Double Allergic, which has like 3 hidden tracks off that one, I think, or is the last track. Anyway, Electric Horse, and I don't know if that is a nod to Powderfinger, because Powderfinger are not a metal band, they're obviously this kind of alt-rock thing. So Sunk Loto, it's interesting going back and listening to it, because it's like that scene, that early version of Australian metal, but it kind of feels a bit modern at the same time, listening to it now. And, listening to it, they kind of felt a bit ahead of the game while being part of the current scene of its day. And I'd be very curious to hear everyone's opinions on what would be considered a fairly cult band of Australia, who is apparently, I think, reforming and possibly might be recording some new material. So I only read that the other day. I'm not sure the validity of that. But let's see. Let's begin off with Hector. What did you make of Sunk Loto?
So I remember listening to this album when it came out. When I saw and I'm like, yeah, I remember listening to this, and listening to it. It kind of reminds me of a lot of new metal bands. It definitely reminds me of Incubus, but Incubus like the Science era,
Yeah, early stuff.
more that era. So they remind me of like a mix of Incubus
If it was
meets
Morning View, I'd be a bit concerned.
with what?
I said if it was Morning View, I'd be a bit concerned.
No. Old school Incubus. So interesting because there's the lead singer can actually sing pretty well. So it's like a new metal, but with good singing. So like you think of Taproot, think of those bands, and yeah, they had that sound. And I remember I did listen to this when it came out, or I had them on my old iPod because when I saw the picture of the album, I'm like, yeah, I listened to it, but I hadn't listened to this in years. And yeah, it reminds me of a whole lot of like different bands, which can be good and can be bad.
Yeah.
Because I'm like reminded of this. I'm like, but is it better than Incubus in the like the science or stuff like that can be debatable.
I feel like I'm on the
Uh,
cover right now of Incubus. Enjoy Incubus. Like, you know that.
yeah, so it had like that type of vibe. So yeah, I enjoyed it. So this was going to be a tough choice. Yeah,
It's going to be
because
intriguing.
yeah,
There's a
but yeah, I enjoyed Between Birth and Death, and yeah, then I saw after that they disappeared. I'm like, what happened to this band? Because I saw I'm like, yeah, I hadn't listened to this in a long time, but yeah, I do. When I was listening to it, I'm like, yeah, I remember the name and vaguely remember the music. So, but I'm glad I went back to it. But yeah, it did remind me of a lot of like different new metal bands.
yeah, and that was like pretty big around about the time when they came around. 2005. So
Mhm.
it's just weird they kind of I wouldn't say fell off the earth. I'm sure there's reasons behind the band and what happened, but yeah, they kind of they just kind of imploded.
Yeah, the
Just
first song is 5 Years of Silence, though.
oh
So they took like a 20 years of silence.
yeah, they lived past that 5 years of silence. They made it past that.
Yeah.
Great way to open up this track as well, like the whole album. That 5 years of
Mhm.
silence, just busting into it. Nick, what are your thoughts in regards to Sunk Loto?
I really like this record as well. I'd never heard of this album or this band before, but I really enjoyed listening to this one. I agree with Hector that I got major Incubus vibes throughout this record, but also I got some other references in there as well. If you're familiar, there's a Canadian metal band or a hardcore band called Alexis on Fire. I
Yeah.
felt there was a little bit
Oh
of
yeah.
Alexis on Fire in Sunk Loto, and then also I'm trying to think. I'm listening to the singer. I don't know. This probably happens to you guys as well because we all listen to so much music. But you hear a singer or you hear something, you're like, "What is that? It reminds me of something. What is it?" You got to put your finger on it, and then I hit it, and it was Corey Taylor. The singer reminded me a lot of Corey Taylor. I was getting a lot
Oh
of
yeah.
Slipknot vocal vibes on there. Just the grit on his voice very much reminded me of Corey Taylor, which is a good thing because I think Corey Taylor is a great singer, and I think the lead singer of Sunk Loto sounded great as well. I really
Mhm.
liked 5 Years of Silence. It sounded like a heavier Guns N' Roses for a little bit in the middle at the beginning there. I like that. I liked Starved. I thought that was a really good track. Everything Everywhere, I thought was a great alt rock track. I thought that could have major single potential. It probably wasn't a big hit, but it definitely could have been. And then I felt there was a little bit of Tool in there as well. I don't always like to compare everything to something else, but there was a bit of Tool in there as well on
Yeah.
Soul Worn Thin because there was a lot of intricate guitar and drums going on there. The musicianship was really great on here. There were some really great heavy breakdowns in some of these songs. So I found this to be a really enjoyable listen, and I agree with Hector. Like I feel like this will be probably a really hard thing for us to rank on this
Oh
episode.
yeah, this is gonna be a hard list, 100%. JC, what are your thoughts in regards to Sunk Loto?
Okay. Yeah, I've never listened to this band before. I actually didn't recognize the name. I guess I don't know for some reason. Like I was listening to a lot of this music back when this came out. I guess it came out like 2003 around that time.
Hmm.
But I don't know. Maybe they weren't popular in the U.S. It's
They
I mean,
sunk.
like the vocals sound a lot like the guy from Incubus, but
Mhm.
not really the music. I think the music is like a lot heavier than Incubus was. Yeah, I'm thinking like Nick said, like Slipknot. Like I think it's like more along the lines of like Slipknot, like Korn, like early Deftones, like musically. Like, but as far as like the lyrics, the singer sounds a lot like the lead singer of Incubus. So I think that's why people will probably make a lot of comparisons. But yeah, I liked it. I think a lot of like really great tracks. I like the first track. It has like I like the first one. I think it's called
5 years
Years
of
of
silence.
Silence.
Yeah.
Kind of like a slow builder. Yeah, that's a good one. And then track five, Starved. That one
Starved
has
is
like
good.
some really like
Yeah.
good heaviness in that one. And like towards the end, I think like tracks 11 and 12 are Erased and Soul Worn Thin. Really good stuff. Really good like riffs to have some like the like softer stuff in the last song. The acoustics, I really like that part. So Yeah, I like this, and yeah, like you guys said, this is gonna be like a hard pick at the end, but yeah, another good band that I've never heard before. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, indeed. I like to hear that you hadn't heard this one, and you know, I guess you're looking at it now and going, oh yeah, 5 years of silence. That's definitely a track there. It For me, it's one of those albums I listened to a lot, and then I stopped listening to it, and then I would come back to it years later, and it's like automatically coming back into muscle memory almost. You know, like, yes, 5 years of silence. How much of a banger is that track? You know, it got to the point now, obviously, with streaming, I'll just add this to a playlist. And when it comes on, it's like, Sunk Loto, you know, this wicked tune that I just, like, absolutely fall in love with. The rest of the album, it definitely comes in ebbs and flows in me. Like, there's parts that I absolutely love about this record. I think it was Help, or was it Starved? Starved, I think. Yeah, sorry, that guitar, that, you know, dun dun dun, that weird little minor notes or something, and you're kind of like, oh, that is just weird. Like, it's almost haunting and almost Tool-like as well with the way of the approach there. I'm glad they just kept it very simple though at the end of the day, and just like, here we go, we're just simple rock and roll, man. Just pump it out. And but there is a little bit of chaos as well. Sorry, construction within it. So yeah, I think we've got a very difficult list to pick from here. Mammal, Lit, and Sunk Loto. I'd be very curious to see where everyone's going to be making this selection. So Hector, let's throw you under the bus first and see where you are going to pick and place these artists. These bands and their records. What are your choices in regards to live listening?
Yeah, this one's not it's not as easy one. It's not as easy as the first episode we did. Uh,
No.
yeah, this one's a hard one because all three records are deserving praise. They're all different in some way. So I would say I would like to uh, I would like to listen to more Mammal. I would like to see them live, but I want to listen to them more because they're a cool band. So I would like to listen to them more. Uh, I'm sorry, Sunk Loto, even though I thought you're great, you reminded me of other bands that I think I like more than you. So I'm erasing you, Sunk Loto. Plus, you haven't been around since 20 years. So, like, like, so I'm erasing Sunk Loto, and I would go to a lit concert. I don't know. I think it would be fun. I would feel like I'm like the old dude trying to be hip. Like, hey kids, what is lit right now? Like, or maybe even that everyone's as old as me, and we're like, dude, we're all old. Like watching lit, it would be fun. It's a nostalgic record. So I think that I would like to see Lit live. I think it would be a fun show. So unfortunately, I erased Sunk Loto, even though I feel bad for it because I think it's a great record as well. But I think it's the one that I have the least attachment to on this panel of this one.
Yeah. No, it makes sense.
Those are my choices.
No, it definitely makes sense in regards to that selection there. It is a really hard list to be choosing from as well. So, damn, that bus just flew past. Like, I don't even know what to say in regards to that one. I'm still thinking, like, in my head, like, which one am I going to pick here? So I'm going to make Nick go next so I can still make up my mind.
All right. Well, I'm kind of with this one. I would think with Sunk Loto, I think would have to be erased. Unfortunately, again, I agree with you guys. I like the record a lot. I really enjoyed listening to it. I just like the other ones a little bit better, but I think they're a really cool band and maybe something I'll go back to. But I'm gonna have to erase them on this one. The one that I would want to see live would definitely be Mammal. Because I think this would be really, really cool band to see live. They're the band that I can picture myself really rocking out to in the car, which is always the ultimate test of whether I really like something or not.
It's the car test. You got to pass the car test.
Yeah, it's got to blast in the car, and this record would definitely I think I'm definitely gonna add it to the playlist and just let it just rock out in the car to that one. And then the one I would listen to forever is obviously Lit because That's an album that I've been listening to for 25 years. It's up there for me in terms of my favorite albums, and an album that I love a lot. Have a lot of memories to that, and that is the hallmark of a great album, is one that you can listen to for so many years and still enjoy on the level that I enjoy that one. So yeah, Lit would be the one that I would keep for sure.
Nice. Very, very good selections there. Oh my gosh. JC, do you feel the pain?
Okay. Yeah, it's not easy, but I know like one of them has to be eliminated, and I think I'm gonna go with Sunk Loto, even though I like
Oh,
them, but it's just that like the other ones I thought were better, and I'm gonna go with See Live would be Mammal, 'cause I think they would have
nice.
like a really good live show. It seems like very energetic, very fun live show, and it'll just like be a very good time. And that will leave me listening to Lit because they have just the songs I remember. They have the big discography. They have just I want to go back and like see if I like remember like some of the old singles. Like I need to like revisit and like revisit all the albums because I'm sure like there's gonna be like a bunch of songs that be like, yeah, I remember that. I heard that in some teen comedy somewhere or somewhere I heard on the radio. So yeah, Lit. Even though I haven't listened to them in a long time, I'm gonna continue to listen to Lit, and then it's just the other ones just have to go. Yeah.
Oh man. I look. It's a very hard list to go over, and I fully understand where everyone's going and why. You know, if you ever make it to Australia, by the way, I would gladly take you to a Mammal show. Holy crap. Well worth it, well worth it. I guess for the same reasons that everyone's picking Lit and erasing Sunk Loto is kind of how I'm thinking about it as well. Like, Sunk Loto is so ingrained in my mind now that I can't erase them. So, unfortunately, because Lit is the new one on there, even though it's a really good record, I would have to erase Lit just because it's the new kid on the block compared to these other two bands. You know, it sucks because, damn, that. I am my own worst enemy, you know, like so, you know, and
You make me completely miserable.
exactly. This list is making me completely miserable, you know, like at the end of it though, Lit is not a band that I'm extremely familiar with, and only by chance I'm listening to it and going, oh yeah, this group, you know, like now I'm aware of them again. So I'm erasing Lit, despite that record being a really good record that I thoroughly enjoyed. Which leaves these two fine Aussie bands to just duke it out. And at the end of the day, I think I would have to listen to Mammal. Like, I can't. I have to listen to that band. They have such an awesome catalogue of music. And maybe I'm also cheating a bit because they've got live studio records. But at the end of the day, look, I've seen them twice. You know, those things were massive imprints in my mind. And I guess maybe that was another reason why I have made my choice to say listen to them forever, because their music, the penny drops, is just such an amazing record, and I don't think I can live without it. You know, at the end of the day, it's an awesome record, which obviously leaves Sunk Loto to see live, and I'd be very curious because I just get the feeling that if I saw them around about, you know, back in the day, I feel like 5 Years of Silence would have been that song they played at the very beginning of every single, you know, set list they had. And that is such a powerful track. Imagine just being like up there at the front, the next second they just jump on stage and 5 Years of Silence just coming into it. And there's no better way to kickstart your performance than driving the energy into the crowd and just, you know, ramming it down their throats almost. So yeah, I think Sunk Loader for me, I would be seeing live, and it sucks because, you know, then I wouldn't be able to listen to the album again. But anyway, those are my three choices, and everyone's choices as well, from a very, very, very difficult panel. Very, very difficult selection. So I'd like to thank my panel once again. Make sure to go and check out all of their channels. Hector from we've got Hector from the Chill Dude on the Couch. I'm getting my words mumbled up, and he does lots of course music interviews. He does Is It That Bad series, fantastic series, terrible albums on the list, and we always pull them apart with a hacksaw in certain
Someone has to
instances.
do it, man.
Someone had to do it. Someone's got to do it, and it'll be
Yeah.
us. So go and
Yes.
check out his series in regards to Is It That Bad and his reviews. We also got JC over there from JC Rock and Metal Reviews and his fantastic lists and wealth of knowledge in regards to all kinds of music, in particular rock and metal, of course. So make sure to check out his channel. JC, thank you very much for being on the channel again for this panel.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
That's the way there. And Nick's from Nick Sino Music on his YouTube channel. And of course his band. Give us the plug again in regards to that one.
Yeah, we're called Fools Union. We're very much in the vein of Foo Fighters, Weezer, Smashing Pumpkins, that kind of thing. You can check us out at foolsunion.com. And there's also, if you just go over to my YouTube channel, there's a playlist that has all of our music videos. So you can check out that kind of stuff too.
Awesome. And make sure to, of course, jump over and subscribe to Fools Union over at Apple Music or Spotify or whichever platform that you use. Make sure and listen to their music. And also check out the YouTube channels and everything else. They'll all be in the bios down below in this YouTube video. Always, people, I would be curious to hear your thoughts on this list. It's a very difficult list, and I'm going to guarantee a lot of Aussies are watching it. So comment below. Tell us which ones you would see live, which ones you would see perform their performances and listen to forever, and which one you would erase. Once again, thank you. Make sure you have a great day, and you stay spicy out there, everyone. If you've enjoyed this content, make sure to smash that like button, subscribe to us, and stay notified for future music-related content because it keeps our manager happy at the end of the day. We are also on Discord, Instagram, Facebook, and all those other social platforms if you want to check us out. As always, people, you have a great day and stay spicy.